Integration by parts then. So this method is used to integrate products. Okay, so whenever we have a product, now this rule is given to you in your formula booklet. We call the first thing in the product u, the next thing dv by dx, and we're integrating that product with respect to x. And it becomes uv minus the integral of v du dx with respect to x. Okay, so that looks complicated, but it's actually straightforward enough. So our first one then, we're integrating x cos x with respect to x. So apart from in the case with logs, which we'll come on to, the question will be written in such a way that u is our first term. So u equals x. We also need then to find out what du by dx is. Differentiate u with respect to x, we'll get 1. Our second term then, according to our formula, is dv by dx, which is cos x, and we need to find v, so we'll have to integrate. So if dv by dx is cos x, integrate cos, and we get sine x. Now we apply our parts here, so we have the integral of x cos x dx equals u times v, so that's x sine x, minus v, which is sine x, times du by dx, which is 1, so that's times, it's just sine x, and then times dx. So now we have something that we can integrate. We've got rid of the product in the integral, and now when we integrate sine, we get minus cos, so that becomes x sine x plus cos x, remembering, of course, your plus c. So now our second one, we're integrating x squared e to the x. So again, it's a product, so we know its parts. Let the first term be u, so u equals x squared, so du by dx is going to equal 2x, which means dv by dx equals our second term, that's e to the x, and we'll have to integrate that to get v, and we know that when we integrate that, we just get e to the x. So applying parts uv, so that's x squared e to the x minus the integral of v du by dx, so that's e to the x times 2x. So 2x e to the x dx. Now what you'll see here, we still have a product. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to apply parts to just this part again. So this time our u is 2x, and our du by dx is 2, and our dv by dx is e to the x, which means v has to be e to the x. So we're going to apply parts again. Just be really careful with the minus signs now. So it's minus this whole thing then has got parts applied to it again. So uv is 2x e to the x minus the integral of v du by dx, so that's 2 e to the x dx. So that's x squared e to the x. Just getting rid of this bracket, that's minus 2x e to the x. We've got a minus times a minus, so that'll be a plus. And if we integrate 2e to the x, we get 2e to the x, and then we'll add on our plus c. So I said that normally the first term in the product would be your u, and your second one would be dv by dx. The only exception to that is an ln question, okay? So in this question, x squared ln x, we have u equals ln x, so it means du by dx equals 1 over x, and our first term here becomes dv by dx. So the ln always has to be with the u. So that's x squared, and then when we integrate that to get v, it's x cubed over 3. Now, if you did it the other way around, if you put dv by dx equals ln x, well, you've no way of integrating that to find v, so you wouldn't get too far with it, okay? So now we have uv, so that's x cubed over 3 times ln x minus the integral of v du by dx, so that's x cubed over 3 times 1 over x. So we've got rid of the log altogether in the integral. And now we'll cancel our x's here. That's going to give us, we're integrating x squared over 3. And that's nice and straightforward to integrate. So we add 1 to the index, so we get x cubed, and then we're going to divide by 3. So we get x cubed over 9, and then we remember our plus c. Our last question, then we're going to evaluate the integral from 1 to 2 of ln x dx. Now, so this one, it's kind of a tricky one because it doesn't look like it should be integration by parts because it's not a product. It's just ln x, but you don't know how to integrate that. So what we have to do is we have to make it into a product. So we'll say it's ln x times 1 that we're integrating. And that means the 1 is our second term in the product. So our u is ln x, because remember, u always has to be with the log. So du by dx equals 1 over x. So our dv by dx is our second term, so it's just 1. So when I integrate that to get v, it equals the x. So I'm just going to leave the limits off until I've integrated the whole thing, and then put the limits in. You can do it in stages, but I'm just going to leave them off to the end. So it's uv, so that's x ln x, minus v times du by dx dx. So that's x ln x minus the integral of 1. So when we integrate 1, we get x, and now I'm going to put the square bracket and put my limits back on. So I get 2 ln 2 minus 2 minus ln 1 minus 1. So ln 1, remember, that's 0. So I've got ln 2 minus minus 1. So that's minus 2 plus 1, which is minus 1. And quite often in these questions, they ask you to leave it as an exact value. So you would just leave it as 2 ln 2 minus 1.